Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, Traders Pro. Market conditions, bullish in a bull market, still gathering momentum, actually even gathering more momentum now that we have had this breakout of this upper range. So we're continuing to see S&P move higher, really all indices moving across the board. We're also seeing nice momentum strength. We haven't touched that upper range yet. Had a little bit of a pullback on Friday, and we'll see if we get any follow through on that, or if we just continue to pause here a little bit at these levels. We'll look at S&P chart here in just a minute as well. Breadth, we finally moved up into this upper range, this bullish range. So we're seeing some additional participation now, which is what we want to see in a good, strong, solid market move. We want to see participation up in these ranges. We're still sitting right around here. So if we can see, some backing and filling, meaning a little bit of a retracement here on S&P 500 while we're getting additional participation in that, we definitely could see some continuation on this overall bullish move to the upside. So looking quite good, quite bullish here in these with this market condition. We've got buy-sell ratio, which is also positive, not intensely positive. Again, these upper ranges off of that first move higher. If we can get that move up into these ranges. So we're approaching that level, but still seems to be just a little bit of muted, cautious optimism here in terms of real broad-based participation, but nonetheless, the market is continuing higher. We are at the upper range of sentiment. That definitely needs to be taken into account, because when we're in this range, up in this upper range almost always forecasts moving away from that range, away from that range, away from that range, away from that range. This has been really a strange, choppy chart pattern here, because this is typical. This is typically how this chart pattern looks. So this kind of explains what we've been dealing with the last couple months in terms of the market. It's just been really, really strange and volatile, lots of choppiness, lots of indecision. And so something to be aware of towards the upper end of bullish runs, when you get up to these upper ranges, that a pullback is definitely helpful. Now, I'm not talking about a full reversal. What I'm talking about, if you look at the chart of the S&P 500 here, is when we get to this upper edge of this range, this momentum has been moving higher. We've been moving higher. We've been moving higher. So as we move from this tight location up into these upper extremes, as it pulls back into this buy range, it can simply look like this. It could be a day or two or three of a consolidation, two or three down bars, black bars in this case. The black bars, by the way, if you're not familiar with what those are doing, is if I just flip this signal back to regular candlestick, if it's now, it doesn't show me the signal, but it shows the trend color. It just shows me if it's an up day or down day. So this red bar is a down day. Well, if I want to maintain the signal look on that, then now I can see that, this was a red day in this overall uptrend. These were red bars in this overall uptrend. So if I go click back here, you can see down day, down day. So now I don't have to toggle back and forth. I can keep it here. I can know that it's a down day. And that's essentially all I need to really see, is that we're in this uptrend. We've got a pullback. We're slightly extreme. Another day or two of pausing might pull this back into that buy range, and that creates a little bit more sustainable overall uptrend. If we go straight up too quickly, then we come right back down quickly. We want these trends to continue, and then to pause, and then to continue, and then to pause, to create a sustainable type trend that is not straight up and then straight back down. We may be starting that, because I think we're going to start to get a lot of FOMO money coming back into the market. People that feel like they've missed out or have been missing out on this uptrend may start to pile into the markets. If we take a look at a couple other indices here, we've been watching the transports and the industrials. This is actually a really positive sign here as well. We've got massive buy-sell ratios on transports and industrials, where we're just getting the bulk of these stocks now that are starting to trend higher. So we are getting more and more participation. We're getting participation in really the core indices, and just these large cap stocks are also participating. So pretty broad-based rally developing, or has been developing here in the marketplace over the last 3 or 4 months. If we look at some of the new buy lists, we've got some really nice looking stocks. AM is one that really looks like it wants to break out. Here's the breakout level. You can see it keeps retesting that along the way. So if you can get a good solid bar breaking and closing up above that area, that's considered a breakout, breaking out of this upper range, and you tend to get some continuation on that, especially here where you can see we had this real strong uptrend. It took a long time to consolidate that move. Then we broke out of that move. Now we've retested that move. Now we're working on this uptrend again, and we could break out. This is actually one of the most bullish patterns you can find in a breakout pattern. In a breakout trade is when you have multiple retests here and then a possible breakout of that retest after this long consolidation. So I would keep a close eye on that stock today, see if we get some continuation on that overall uptrend. Good looking pattern. The other thing, there's actually several other really interesting charts in here this morning. TGS, this is actually an oil stock. Oil stocks are starting to light back up again. So I'd go through your oil watch list, because we're seeing USO, the price of oil, actually kind of bottom and stabilize, and potentially looks like it has a chart pattern that may be moving higher as well. So some interesting oil stocks. That may be our next sector that we rotate back into. We may see biotech, and some of those medical names that have been so successful the last few months maybe cool off a little bit here. We may rotate into oil. Always hard to say, but these are the early inklings of something happening here. Another nice looking pattern, this is a medical bio, is IMCR, and the nice thing about this pattern is we did have a nice 50% retrace. Let me refresh this chart here as well so we get a clean line. I'm going to move this over just a little bit like this right here. So 50% retrace off of this move lower. So as it's counter trending, uptrending, counter trending, finding some support inside of this range, and then starting to move back up again. As I've mentioned before, we want to try and avoid this part of the pattern. We're focusing on green in this overall uptrend, potentially exiting on yellow. That can certainly be your call, or managing stop losses bar by bar as it continues higher. That's a shorter term strategy, you can certainly focus on that kind of approach. On this bar, though, what I like to focus on this is this solid confirmation bar. It's a 4.5% move, stop loss at the low, and watching for some continuation in a market that is allowing for that. That's what the market is giving us right now, are continued moves higher, buying the dips, buying these confirmation moves as they're going higher. This is a possibility here as well to be watching for. I'm going to come back. There was one other stock. I'm going to get rid of this. And we looked at these top three. BLU, this is a situation. It's probably a buyout, and it just stays in there until the symbol changes. You can just move past that one, ignore that one. A couple other stocks potentially looking for breakouts on these. SPNT, also in that list. Hubs. This is the other one I want to look at, because this is actually an oil. It's an alt energy oil, so maybe in that solar space, but it's also looking like a potential candidate for possible breakout. That's a real solid bar when you see an open, a retrace all the way down, and then a rally all the way back, creating that hammer pattern. This is a hammer pattern. When you see that, it's got the retest or the retrace built into it. Okay, so that's a solid bullish bar, something to be watching for as well today. So it could be an interesting week in the market. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.